now.
Okay, it's starting.
Okay.
It started? Yes, Luke, it just started.
Okay. Alright, well, welcome to the Three Media Junkies podcast. I'm Luke.
I'm Austin.
And I'm Hunter.
Alright, great job, guys.
Thank you.
So this is a bit of a different episode, which is probably how it's going to be a little bit from now on, is Austin isn't going to be doing every episode. We're going to have other people doing it. Me and Hunter are joining this one a little bit. We both came up with the idea for this episode. Fist bump.
Yeah.
I am not in this episode.
No,
He does not
Austin's in
exist
this
at all.
episode. Listen,
Austin does not exist at all.
Yeah.
Austin's in this episode. He is more of a side character
Yes,
in this episode.
I took a step back for this one.
Yeah.
I wanted them to have free reign over what we do.
And I also ran the idea by him, and we have some,
Yes, I was not, for this episode, I was not allowed to say no to any idea, but I didn't have to because this one was actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
But I do have small talk, Luke.
Yeah, Austin does have small talk.
That's
That's
not
what I'm
true.
going to say next.
He definitely could have said no if he wanted to. But.
Yeah, he could have.
No, that was the rule, is I couldn't have said no.
Alright, well, Austin has small talk, so I want to hear
Yeah,
it.
so this is another little funny story.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh my god.
Not as crazy as the last one. It's not even crazy. It's just kind of funny. So as you know, I was sick a little bit a few days ago.
Yeah.
I don't think I really emphasized how sick I was. I was very sick.
On Tuesday, I could tell you were kind of, groggy.
Yeah, and,
Very
the night, I think Wednesday night, I really came down with a fever and stuff, and I was, dying, basically. And so what happened is, so when I get sick, I get, really delirious and out of it.
Oh god.
And so because I was so delirious, I took my symptoms as I really thought I was gonna die. I didn't think I was gonna wake up the next morning because I was trying to fall asleep and I just had a pounding headache. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears.
I hate that.
Yeah, and that really freaks me out. So that just added to it. And so basically, what I did, I grabbed a sticky note, and I wrote on it. This is what I wrote. On this sticky note, I wrote, "If I die,"
It's going to bed.
I wrote, "If I die, give Luke and Hunter my laptop so they can continue the podcast." And I stuck it to my forehead.
Oh my...
And I didn't find the sticky note again until this morning. I didn't know what happened to it.
I wanted to see it.
I should have brought it.
That was your will and
such
testament.
a sick souvenir to have.
That I could have just slapped it down.
Yeah.
Dang it, I should have done that.
Dang.
But
That was your will and your will and testament. What do they call it?
Is that what
A will.
Yeah, a will.
That's what his will is gonna be.
Yeah,
Just give the
sticky note.
laptop to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so sick that I thought I was gonna die, and I wanted you to continue
Yeah.
the.
Do you honestly think that if you die, we'd be able to figure all of this nonsense out?
I think I could.
Probably, yeah.
I probably could.
Yeah. I mean, he does the majority of the behind-the-scenes editing.
Yeah.
So,
I just need to learn how to do editing.
this is
stuff,
an
and I
important
think
thing to
I
talk
can do
about. If any of us dies, let's just hope it's not Austin.
I mean, I could do the recording.
That's an interesting way to put it.
I could do recording and stuff.
Yeah.
I just need to learn how to edit a little bit better.
We're just gonna start the episode and just start
I
crying.
could just we could just get rid of Austin.
No.
Oh God! I
At
should
this
have
point-
given these guys power. They're gonna overthrow me.
Wait, we literally said in the group chat, we said that the episode was gonna be us killing Austin.
Oh God! No.
Yeah, that's actually what we changed back to.
The power balance has been thrown off.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
This was a big mistake.
That was my small talk for this episode.
It's really funny.
You guys are back in control now.
I hope something exciting
always
happens to
been
me that I
control,
have to say at the beginning.
What'd you say, honey?
We've always been in control, Austin. Since the beginning.
Oh God.
Okay, at any rate, today, since we like to ramble, as you've probably figured out, we have decided that we are all going to get to share our passions today in our own fun way. We all really enjoy a lot of different video games, but we all have very particular video games that we really feel like that we love and that we could tell everybody about all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because of this, we tend to ramble, and we all do it. So what the challenge is going to be today is a 20-minute timer. We have to get everything we want to say out of the way in 20 minutes. And I was going to do it on my phone, but my phone is at 12%. So one of you guys is going to need to set the timer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I want to do it. I don't have anything to do.
I want to do it, guys.
Yeah, except for talk.
You could have done something, but you decided
Yeah. So
Well, you guys, I thought you guys wanted me to give you power, but then like you guys were
Well-
like struggling to like come up with an idea for a while, so I was like,
yeah.
now I feel bad.
no, it's fine. I honestly just wasn't thinking about it, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. Well, you guys got to keep in mind too. This isn't the only time.
Oh, I know. I have some things I
Okay.
already thought of.
So think of ideas like as soon as you can,
Mhm.
because this isn't gonna be the only time you guys are in control of the episodes.
Yep. True. And also, whenever we all three finish our rants, we're going to have to kind of wrap up pretty quickly. So we're not going to be
Hunter's
looking...
threatening to kill me.
We're not going to be looking up Hasbro versus Hair mode this time.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
We were looking at which came out first.
Oh yeah, and the sound will sound different this time
Yeah,
because
I feel like none of our episodes have sounded the same.
yeah, it's because
We'll get there.
last episode we had to record in my room because someone totally not named Austin forgot to book the room and it
Yeah.
was already
It was
booked.
Austin.
No, it wasn't. So yeah,
All right.
Well,
So I'm going to start this off with my favorite franchise. I'm going to got to start the timer here.
3. Wait, do you have any background information to talk about?
No, I don't think so. I think that I've already talked a little bit about Kirby.
3, 2, 1, go, Luke.
All right. So Kirby is the reincarnated form of a god. The god's name is Void Termina, who is this all-being, end-all, be-all giant demon that was just created one day. No one knows how. But the essence of it, Void, is the main part of it. And it floats around in space. And when it comes in contact with negative emotions, it makes bad guys. And when it comes across positive emotions, it makes good guys. And
Got
it's
it.
Kirby.
Got it.
Now, somewhere completely unrelated on a different planet called Halkandra, there are the Ancients, these very original name, I know. These
Yes.
like Squidward-looking people who
sounds like
some of them
Call of
use
Duty.
magic and some of them use technology to do their stuff, right? So the
Uh-huh.
magic ancients were like all powerful and stuff, and the tech ancients were kind of jealous of the magic ancients because they could do all this stuff. And so eventually they overthrew the magic ancients and cast them away. And the technology ancients started making a lot more relics. So both of these factions have a lot of relics that will come into play later on. One of the magic ancients, named Highness, didn't like that he got cast away. That made him pretty angry. So he summoned dark matter, which which
Okay.
is definitely a good way to get out your emotions. Which is an entity created by Void. When he came across some negative emotions, he created dark matter, which Highness then took control of to get revenge on the magic ancients, or the technology ancients, I should say.
Got it.
And then the technology ancients were pretty scared of his power, so they sealed him away in a crystal. And he also summoned Void Termina before this. I've skipped this. Void Termina is Void after he just became Void Termina after coming across so many negative emotions, probably from the magic ancients and the tech ancients fighting.
Yes.
So, sorry, I got completely confused there.
No, it's okay.
Void Termina appears.
Got it.
Galactonite, this knight from the greatest, strongest warrior in the galaxies, fought Void Termina and defeated them. The tech ancients were scared, so they sealed him away in a crystal. He's sealed in the crystal. Highness is sealed in the crystal. Void Termina is sealed in the crystal. The end. Okay,
Okay.
now we're on Planet Popstar
What?
with Kirby.
Let me say something real quick. This sounds so much like the storyline of Call of Duty Zombies with the Apothecons
Yeah,
and all
that
this
is
other
true.
stuff.
Yeah.
It sounds so much like it's like
It is very
they sealed
similar.
away the bad Apothecons.
Well, get ready.
That was just a little bit of I wanted to say something.
All right, yeah, that's
Okay.
fine. Okay, go. So,
go,
Kirby, he is a positive thing that Void made when he encountered positive emotions. He made Kirby. So Kirby and King Dedede have this little feud. King Dedede likes to steal all the food in Dreamland, which is pretty. I think most people probably know that if they know a little bit about Kirby. Meta Knight is the defender of Dreamland. He has a big flying airship that sometimes Kirby destroys for some reason. I don't know. And then they became friends after that because that's awesome. So one day, Dark Matter comes down to Planet Popstar and attacks because he was lonely and had no friends. That's actually real, by the way. That's the reason. And then he died.
Oh,
But that dark matter was actually a little piece of a bigger part of dark matter called Zero, which is actually like the main thing of dark matter. Comes down on the planet Popstar and engulfs everything really, really quickly, like so fast. And then a little tiny piece of dark matter comes down. But Kirby's positive emotions are so strong and amazing that he turns this piece of dark matter into a good guy named Gooey, who has a long tongue.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one trait that you can remember.
And he's blue and has a very
Gooey
long
has
tongue.
long
Okay.
tongue.
That's his whole gimmick.
All right.
Okay, so then Gooey and Kirby go fight this thing called Zero up in space. Very intense. With the love stick that they got from the gratitude of everybody else on the planet.
Got it. Okay.
They killed Zero. During this fight, they're flying around in space, and Zero is a big floating eyeball. That's what his own. And whenever you hit Zero, blood spews out. In a
Yeah,
kid's
obviously, makes sense.
game. More and more blood, and then as you hit the final hit, blood spews out all over the screen, all over the place. The pupil in the eye breaks away, and the like white part of the eye just drifts off into space, bleeding all over the place, and many terrible things. And then
Right.
Kirby 64 comes along, where you go to on many different planets, right? And you meet many different people. One of which is a frozen version of Earth. So everybody in Kirby lore is dead. They're all either frozen or eradicated by these robots. There's no humans in Kirby lore, except for one human. But I don't want to get too into that because that's kind of a side thing. So, Shiver Star, which is frozen Earth. This is really hard to get out. I didn't realize how hard this is going to be to get everything out. So, once Kirby gets all of the crystal shards, which is the name of Kirby 64 and the crystal shards, Zero comes back.
No!
Zero 2
No!
is his very original name.
02, got it.
Zero 2. And it's people think that he was reincarnated by the shell that was cast off in Dreamland 3, which is Zero shell.
Right,
and he has wings this time and a big bloody eyeball and cactuses. It's a whole thing.
Okay.
Kirby kills it with the crystal shooter rod thing, and he dies. He explodes and screams in pain, and that's about it.
Zero dies or Kirby dies?
02.
Oh,
Kirby.
okay.
That would be terrible.
Yeah.
All right. Then this happened simultaneously with the whole Zero thing. Marx, this little demon guy, tricked Kirby into summoning this thing called the Galactic Nova, which was made by the ancients, that can grant any wish possible.
Okay.
And so Kirby was gonna use it, and then Marx came in and got his wish and became a god, and then Kirby killed him. And then Marx come back, and then Kirby killed him again. Okay, got that.
Got it.
So, this is really not that 02.
I know. When you said 02, that's the first thing I thought of.
That's a common misconception.
Why is that?
There's an anime character named 02. That's a common misconception. Not the same person. Anyway.
Hunter just had it pulled up on his phone.
Yeah, I
I
just looked
put
over
it
and
up,
I was
as
like,
soon as I
oh.
heard 02, I'm like, wait, this reminds you of this. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, 02's in this game.
And then I've got to skip a few parts because a lot of side games don't really have anything into the overall lore. And then one day, Kirby and his friends are playing around on Planet Popstar, and a giant starship called the Lore Starcutter comes down and crashes into Planet Popstar. And there's a little guy on it named Galore, who is like my favorite character besides maybe Marx. And Galore is actually like, oh, my ship is all broken apart. This ship can like travel between galaxies and can like cut through everything. It was made by the ancients too, as most of these things are in this series. And so he's like, all right, Kirby and friends, please go get my ship parts back. And Kirby's like, oh yeah, of course I will, buddy. You know, you're my guy.
Yeah.
He gets them all back. Galore betrays them naturally. So the way he betrayed them was he had this thing called, or he wanted this thing called the Master Crown. But he couldn't get it because he was too weak, so he just used Kirby to go get the Master Crown for him. And once they beat the big four-headed dragon that had the crown on it, Galore just picked it up and put it on his head, and he's like, now I'm the ruler of all of the universe forever. And he sucks Kirby into alternate dimension, and they have this epic battle where they're shooting through this, like, space park thing, and he has a really awesome theme song. Then, after you defeat, like, the second phase, he, like, goes exploding and stuff, and then the whole screen flashes white, and the crown gets, like, claws and starts like kind of like moving around. It's actually an entity of its in and of itself.
Oh, okay.
So Galore then comes back into view. His name is still Galore, but he looks nothing like Galore anymore. His like main body part is just all black now with a familiar looking eyeball in the middle. So people think that dark matter was one possessing the Master Crown, which is I think made by the ancients. I'm just assuming that actually hasn't been confirmed.
Okay. I was just gonna ask. Is
that
confirmed yet? Or
but
no?
I mean, I think that's kind of the assumption.
Yeah.
But so then all this other, kills crowned Galore, who has an awesome theme song that I love very much. And then, he all dies. And then you find, like, Galore Soul EX and stuff in the True Arena, which has a little bit of lore significance. Just, like, the Master Crown can't be killed, basically. It's just all being entity.
Okay.
And so then more things happen. Like, there's this whole thing with mice that doesn't really matter much. Kirby gets turned into paint, into yarn. That doesn't really matter much. And then we get to Kirby Star Allies. No,
Okay.
this is...
Sounds kind of... Doesn't sound like it doesn't matter at all.
It does
turns
matter.
into paint.
I promise you, it doesn't matter. Nobody likes those games. Well, actually they do. Kirby doesn't really have a bad game, per se. Like, there aren't really many games that are, like, doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
But anyway, Kirby Star Allies is the one game that did a lot of things wrong. And it's the most recent one. Well, not the most recent, second most recent one.
Okay.
This is the one that people don't like it because it's too short, which I guess is kind of understandable, but the levels are pretty long, and it has probably the most important lore of all. This is when all that stuff about Highness and Dark Matter and Void Termina was all revealed. So you're just like, it starts off, Highness is back, somehow unexplained. He has the Jamba Heart, which is the crystal that Void Termina was sealed in.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to summon Void Termina, he's doing this ritual and everything, and then he screws it up and it explodes and all these hearts fly all over the galaxy. And these hearts are corrupting people, making them evil, like King Dedede, who I guess was already evil. It's debatable whether he's evil or not. It's more of a frenemy relationship.
Yeah.
And then-
Halfway.
Halfway? Okay, I got it. I think I'm on track here.
Okay.
And then Meta Knight also gets turned evil, which is again frenemies, kind of debatable, and yeah, so they fly around the galaxy. You actually get to play as all of the past villains in this game. You get to play as like Meta Knight and Marks and Galore and all of
You
them.
get to play with Marks?
Yeah, you can actually do the move where he splits himself in half and summons a black hole in the middle of him.
That sounds
cool.
interesting.
It's
gameplay-wise.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's just like B up down A, and then
Just
Okay.
kill everything you see.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. It's pretty overpowered. But at any rate, you get to this thing called Jambastion, where you meet Highness and his three servants, the three mage sisters, which are named Francisca, Zan Partizan, and I forgot the other one's name. I'm really sorry, you guys. I know
It's okay.
how much you wanted to hear.
Yeah.
I'm so
But
sad.
these three mage sisters are all themed after three different elements. The Zan Partizan is electricity. Francisca is ice, and then whatever the fire one is. Actually, maybe Francisco was the fire one. I don't know. It doesn't matter. And that's fire. And the reason that they actually are themed this way is because when Highness found them on his travels, when he actually was trying to summon dark matter, he found them on his travels. One girl was burning alive in a flaming inferno, and he saved her life. Like she was on the brink of death. One girl freezing to death, and one girl trying to actually take her own life by striking herself with lightning. That he saved her, and they became these elemental characters. And but as the game went on, Highness got more and more corrupted with his own twisted ways, and he just started abusing them, and verbally and physically. There's a part where he just slaps one of them out of the way when he's walking down the stairs, and then you fight Highness, all right, and he's doing all these crazy moves, and then he actually takes the corpses of the three mage sisters and uses them as a shield, all of this stuff, and at the end of the fight, he's has on his last breath, and he goes up to the Jamba Heart and sacrifices himself to Void Termina. And with that last little bit, Void Termina is reborn. And you then... All the Kirby games up to this point have been 2D, by the way. I should probably mention this. They're all been side-scrollers. Even the Nintendo 64 one was 2.5D, kind of. And it was only just you go left or right.
Okay.
But then all of a sudden, you're on this flying star thing, and you can move around in the... It's 3D. It's not the most... incredible 3D thing ever, but it is you move up and down all around.
Yeah.
And Void Termina is huge, and it has this crazy attacks, and it's also he has I'm gonna talk about leitmotifs here because Kirby's the only Nintendo franchise I think has ever, besides maybe Limited Zelda, Kirby actually has done a great job with its leitmotifs. It's created all kinds of iconic themes. Void Termina is just fantastic, but you're destroying him. He has 5 phases. This is also after you defeat the two Highnesses, so the Highness is 2 phases, so there's no checkpoints.
Okay.
And then if you go into Void Termina, you can see the corpses of the 3 mage sisters and Highness being hung in the background of his intestines.
Oh. Okay.
And and then you go into Void Termina and you find Void Soul, or Void Termina, I guess it's still called at that point, which is Void, that thing that I was talking about. That looks just like Kirby, just with no arms or legs. It just the same face.
Okay.
It bounces around, does all these attacks.
Oh yeah, I know that.
and he you fight him, he explodes, and then you just destroy everything, and it's all that. And then you get to the true arena, and all of this nonsense, this craziness.
Okay.
You get to the end, and you find Void himself, who is the creator of everything.
Yes.
And Void actually has a really sad story, because Void is just destined to be this terrible abomination that he can't control. He's just floating around endlessly in space until he becomes either good or bad, and he could only he wasn't in control of it. He had to become bad. And his theme song has a sad piano version of the main theme of Kirby.
Really?
It's so good. It's so sad.
Okay.
And that kind of brings us. I didn't talk about Forgotten Land because that's also kind of self-contained, although it could sort of theory territory. But there's one more little thing I want to talk about. You might end up actually getting to stop this before I'm done. Because,
We're at 14 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Yep.
But there's one more little detail I want to talk about. In every Kirby game, it's just the beginning of the game. In the first cutscene, there's a little butterfly that flies around, right? And it's just a little background detail, you know. In like Forgotten Land, he's like flying around into the portal and everything. In like Return to Dreamland, he lands on Kirby's head, just a little orange butterfly.
Yeah.
And at the end, Kirby Star Allies, when you beat one of the side modes, where you just get to play through the whole game as like one of the villains from the past games, you get to the end and you find Galactonite, the guy who sealed Void Termina away. Everybody remember?
Yes.
That you've been following this whole time.
Yes.
And you find Galactonite, and that's better. This is like the fourth time you fought him, because in other games Meta Knight gets to fight him, but that's all non-canon. But this is actually the first time he actually is canon. You're about to fight him. It's Galactonite, has the whole introduction and everything, and then the butterfly from every single other Kirby game flies down since
God.
I forget when the first one released, but like 1989 or whatever, comes down, lands on his sword, and just absorbs him. And becomes Morpho Knight.
That is crazy.
So
if I was into these, that's the type of stuff that would make
I know,
me...
my mind, I'm telling you, I was like, oh my
Did you
gosh.
experience that blind?
Yeah, I got to experience that blind, also knowing about the butterfly.
The orange butterfly just kind of...
Did you think the butterfly was something more?
No,
before?
it was always just a background detail. And it comes and lands on Galactonite's
Yeah, it's been
So
lands.
who is the butterfly? No idea.
A omen of death.
Oh.
Because it comes at the beginning of every game right before something cataclysmic happens. You know, like magma.
God, so like every time like something like a conflict comes to Kirby, the butterfly is like there.
Like when you were walking
Makes
on a Kabe
sense.
that one day, did you see any butterflies before you drove away with your stuff on the car?
I might have. I
Maybe.
might have.
Yeah. Anyway, so it becomes basically Galactonite, but with wings, like butterfly wings and a butterfly stuff and a big butterfly looking sword, and main Morpho Knights. His design is actually Meta Knight's original design from the canceled Kirby GameCube game.
Okay.
Oh.
So that's kind of deep there. But you defeat him, and also this is non-canon. But it just is like proof, like it's like, hey, this does exist. Just they didn't actually kill Morpho Knight, but just showing Morpho Knight is a thing.
Yeah.
Forgotten Land comes around. There's a lot of story in Forgotten Land, but it's all pretty self-contained. Not really too important. You fight the ultimate life form. That's about it. But you play through this another side mode where you get to the end of it and the entity comes out. They have to fight. Like there's always a secret final boss. The secret final boss comes out, which is like Soul Forgo, whatever it's called. And the butterfly comes in and lands on its nose and turns into Morpho Knight in 3D this time. This is Forgotten Land was the first 3D Kirby game.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, my brother and I were in tears. We were like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. So, but then you have to fight Morpho Knight in 3D. You beat Morpho Knight. You get its weapon. You can use its weapon in the game.
Okay.
And then you go into like the true arena and you get to fight Morpho Knight again and Fecto Forgo or Soul Elfless, Chaos Elfless. And that about brings us up to date on the Kirby lore.
Nice.
You can
I might have to check these games out.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
So, Kirby, you can pause the timer now because
Okay.
Kirby, because I can probably talk a little bit here. It is, as I said before, it's the most indie, the closest Nintendo's gotten to making indie genre with all of its dark, morbid themes.
And I like that it really respects itself too, like in terms of like the butterfly and like calling back to all the stuff. Like it seems like everything happens for a reason with the franchise.
Yeah, it was made by Shigeru Miyamoto, who was also the guy who made Smash Bros.
Yeah.
So he's a pretty talented guy, I'd say.
That's why the combat in Super Smash Bros. Feels so much like Kirby. Is because he made it.
Yeah, and because Kirby movesets are even more complicated than Smash movesets.
Mm.
They have
Really?
more moves and they vary moves.
I'm gonna have to check these games out, especially now that I'm playing my Switch a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Those would be some good
Yeah,
games.
the
to
only
play.
problem is probably the price. Kirby Star Oz might be a good one to start out with, but I think Kirby Return to Dreamland Deluxe is probably what we should go do. It's $60, so it's kind of expensive.
Okay.
Forgotten Land is 3D and it's really good. I know Hunter has it. I don't know how much he's played of it. That one's really good too, but
Which one is?
Forgotten Land.
Oh yeah.
But that one's also more for people who already know Kirby.
Okay.
All right, so that's Kirby.
I
I hope that I've educated you guys.
You
I
did.
Hope that you feel.
I was like, it sounded interesting, but once I got to the butterfly part, I was like, that.
Yeah,
that's
that's
actually
cool.
really cool.
That's cool.
That's
and
really
and
cool.
after this, I'll show you guys what I'm talking about that
Mm.
butterfly
Okay.
thing.
I know I already said this about the Apothicon stuff. It's still in my brain, the fact that you were talking about how there was the magic ones, the technology ones, and how they were sealed away them. I'm like, this sounds just so much like the zombies lore.
What was made
With
first?
all
Well,
the... No, it was probably that. That probably was made
Uh-huh.
first. But I don't know if like that part of the story was made first.
oh yeah, it was.
Because I'm like, this sounds so much like
Yeah.
it. I don't know
Mhm.
why.
That's
Because
interesting.
they're just like, I'm like, they're very completely different games.
And
Like,
I've already
one-
told you guys about some of the side plot. I told you about President Haltman at McDonald's that one day.
Yeah.
And
You told me about Marks and his backstory.
yeah, and yeah.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of other things like that. But
Yeah.
that is Kirby, one
Yes.
of my favorite lore ever. That was kind of rambling, but it's okay.
No, that's fine.
That was
No,
the
it was
point of
good.
what it was supposed
It's
to be.
good. You don't just want to be like, Lord, done.
Lord,
You know,
done.
nice little ending.
Yep.
Um.
All right, here we are.
Okay, so.
Austin's turn.
Oh, I am so excited for
Yeah.
this. Literally.
I am too, actually.
Listening to you rant about your lore just made me so much more excited.
Mhm.
So let me get the viewers in here because they don't keep track of our lives.
I hope not.
Yeah,
That'd be really
Right?
good if you guys were.
I mean,
well, I mean, my parents do.
Well,
Yeah.
technically their parents would, so yeah.
yeah. But basically, ever since part 2 of the podcast, since I, at the very beginning of the episode when I ranted about Hollow Knight, Luke was interested in it, so he started playing it. I believe you started playing it as well.
I'm at
So-
36 hours, by the way.
Yeah, Luke is far.
I'm addicted.
He beat the game. He got the base ending, which is the only problem. He hasn't done everything. So some of this will be spoilers.
Yeah, I actually,
Um,
we're going to talk about this a little bit too, is I don't really mind the spoilers as much.
Yeah, because I mean you'll get to see it anyway, and you
Mhm.
are at the point to where like you've seen most of the story.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's the lore. I feel like I probably was not really thinking too hard about it,
Yeah.
but I do get the basics. There's an infection. There are these masks, which
Mhm.
there are these. I made some of my own theories along the way.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
Um,
I will get that out of the way right now before I start is the masks, because I'm going to explain all this and you're probably going to be confused. So the masks, they do have lore relevance, but they're not as lore relevant as you think they are.
Oh,
So
I was kind of
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's not that big of a story element, but there is a reason to it.
Mhm.
I'm actually not sure. Like you mentioned, the birds that were flying had masks. I don't know why.
really.
I know that there is. This is like a side thing that I won't be able to talk about during my time thing. There is a dude you can find. I think he's in Deep Nest. He's called the Mask Maker, and he's literally making masks.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
Yeah, and he's like rambling in a weird language, like all the characters do.
Yeah.
But yeah, he Mask Maker. I'm not even sure what his relevance is in the story or why he's making masks for everybody. But anyway, I kind of cheated a little bit.
Yeah,
I talked about it a
probably
little
should
bit
start the
there.
timer.
Yeah. So basically, Hollow Knight, great game.
Yeah,
Let's
Hollow Knight.
start off.
Mhm.
3, 2, 1.
Whoa.
Okay, so this is great. Anyway, so Hollow Nest. We're talking about before most of the stories before you actually start playing the game.
Got it. I see.
So Hollow Nest was once a great, thriving kingdom of bugs, and the bugs used to be more like bugs. They weren't always these humanoid-looking
Oh,
creatures.
okay.
Mhm.
So they used to be more similar to real-life bugs.
Like the tick ticks.
Yes, but something that wasn't similar to real life bugs were great beings called worms, and it's a worm, like the thing you're thinking of, but it's spelled WYRM.
Yeah.
So
I know what those are.
so I will say there are a lot of higher beings in Hollow Knight, which are gods, and the worms, which are extinct by the time you start playing the game. You found the corpse of one in Kingdom's Edge when you went down there and it was snowy and the wind was blowing and you got the little the fragment thing. You remember?
Oh, that's what that was.
That was the worm, and
wow, how did I not get that?
yeah, so they're all extinct by the time you start playing the game, and I'm pretty sure the one in Kingdom's Edge was the last one. It's very important though, but before I get to that, I have to talk about what Hallownest was before.
Okay.
So, great kingdom of bugs living all in their own communities. The bees, the mantis tribe, they all live separately but under the same kingdom. So basically, the god that lived there before the last worm showed up, it was called the Radiance, and the Radiance is a giant, basically the sun, but a giant moth. So she's a giant moth god, and she's like huge, and all the moths worshipped her. So like the moth that you're giving your dream essence to, that's like the kinds of species that would worship the Radiance. And most of Hallownest did at the time. They worshipped the Radiance. The Radiance was their god. The worm shows up, aka the Pale King. But at the time, it was just a worm. But it's kind of like a theory that all worms have like a desire to dominate territories. So the worm shows up and it dies.
Is it big?
Yeah, it's the worm you found in Kingdom's Edge.
I'm racing from my memory.
The worms are huge. Like you walked inside of it in Kingdom's Edge, and it was like a huge cave.
Oh, I remember exactly what you're talking about now.
Yeah, and so the worm showed up, it dies, and it basically reforms itself into the Pale King. So you remember the statue that you gave all your Geo to?
I didn't, but
you
didn't give it. But
you
I
didn't give all your
statue,
Geo to. Yeah, that statue is of the Pale King.
What happens if I give my Geo to it?
So I thought you didn't get anything, but you actually do. You get a piece of a soul thing. For your soul. But anyways, that's the Pale King. He's basically, imagine the knight who you play as, but he has like a much more detailed head, and he's like the original, because I will say the knight is his child. All of the vessels, which I'll explain what that is in a minute, are his children. So the Pale King, the Pale King comes out of the worm, and he's in Hollow Knight now, or Hallownest now.
Yeah.
So he shows up with one ability or one desire, and that's to basically liberate Hallownest as his eternal kingdom. His goal is to turn Hallownest from this little rinky-dink kingdom that it is, with just bugs living their lives, to an eternal kingdom that will last forever.
Okay.
So he comes to Hallownest, and he basically a lot of people join him, like a lot of the species and tribes join him pretty easily. They're easily convinced. I'm pretty sure with say for example the Mantis tribe, he had to make certain agreements, they had control over their area, which is why there's all those big doors where they control, and they basically have all their territory under their control, but they do acknowledge that he is the ruler of Hallownest, or will be. So he shows up, starts liberating everything, basically making Hallownest his own, and in turn basically becomes the new god of Hallownest.
Okay.
And the Radiance doesn't like this.
No, I'm sure.
So basically what happens is even the moths who dedicated their entire ancestry, their history, I mean the Radiance is a moth. So even most of the moths basically forget about the Radiance.
Ooh.
And the Radiance doesn't like this, and the Radiance is a dream god. So basically what the Radiance does is through dreams, basically what the infection is, all that orange stuff, is that's the Radiance's infection. She infected like citizens of Hollownest through dreams. So she made them dream about her, and that basically made them lose their minds and become these just wandering husks that just like attack anything that shows up.
Oh, there's an interesting theme here of like who's the real good guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's very there's a whole I saw a whole video essay on YouTube about whether the Pale King's a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah.
The way I tell this, it's gonna sound like he's a bad guy.
Yeah, but like he can't help like being the way he is, but like the Radiance is. I think the Radiance is more of a bad guy. They're more selfish, I'd say.
Yes. So bad girl, I guess. But that's kind of weird though.
Don't
Never
say
mind. I'm not
that.
saying
Don't say
that.
that. Don't say that.
Anyway, so the Radiance doesn't like that everyone's forgotten about her. She infects the citizens of Hollownest, a lot of them anyway, and the Pale King, basically having most of Hollownest under its control, realizes that the Radiance is attempting to, control everybody and infecting everybody. So this is where the real conflict starts: the battle, the war between Pale King and the Radiance.
Yeah.
So, what's the next big piece of this story? Okay, so what the Pale King does is, because the Radiance isn't actually a physical being, at least you can't easily access her. So you can't just go and kill her.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he'd be able to do that if he's strong enough, but you can't anyway. So you can only access her through dreams, through the mind. So what he does is, since he's made all these pacts with people, the Pale King basically marries, I think her name's the White Lady. Yeah, the White Lady.
Oh, I met her, I think.
Yes.
She gave you half of that charm.
Yes. So they marry, and basically the reason I don't know if they actually technically married, but she's queen of Hollownest with him, and they reproduce, for lack of a better term, because it's not really what you're thinking. You remember the Abyss, correct?
Yeah.
So
all those dead children in there.
Okay.
Or those dead souls.
Yes. So the Abyss, basically.
Alright,
okay. We are back. So,
sorry.
Where we left off, Pale King, Radiance don't like each other. They're fighting to control Hollownest.
You talking about the Abyss.
Yes. So the Abyss. I talked about the dreams and the infection. That's what the Radiance uses. The Radiance does have a weakness though, and it's all things that are hollow, things that don't have dreams.
Oh, like the Hollow Knight.
Things that are not human and don't have a soul, and things that can't think for themselves and don't have passions, ambitions, dreams. That's the Radiance's weakness. So what Pale King does is the White Lady gives birth to all of these children, but they're born out of a substance called void that you find in the Abyss.
Ooh.
So you remember when you went down to the Abyss and there were all of those little void dudes you had to kill.
Just like how when I die, I become a little void dude.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
Yeah,
so
that's
those are all dead vessels. That's
Got
what
it.
they're called, vessels. The Pale King's goal, he birthed, I guess, like thousands of these vessels. That's why
corpses.
that's why there were like the Abyss is literally built like off their remains.
Yeah.
Basically, he birthed thousands of them with the intention of keeping one, the most pure, most hollow vessel there is.
That's the Hollow Knight?
Yes. So, but basically how he determines that they're the most hollow is, you know how you drop all the way down to the Abyss, there's that huge area.
Yeah.
What their goal is basically to race up to the top, and whoever makes it to the top is the strongest, most
This is kind of silly.
Yeah, it's really weird how he determines it.
Yeah, and also that's
yeah, so
weird.
so it's like a test of strength, I guess.
I think quicker.
Yeah.
quicker
So
than that.
they all. I guess it's not a race. It's just like whoever can actually do it.
Okay.
Because I guess it was hard for them because they were like just born or something. I
But
don't know.
that's so much. That's so like connected, like randomly super
I
connected
know.
to the game.
Peelking's not very smart. I guess you could say that.
Hey, don't.
But basically, they all get one gets to the top, and there's also theories like there's evidence that Hollow Knight wasn't the first one to the top, so we're not really sure how he determined who is the most
Okay.
pure.
Got it.
But basically, his goal is whichever one's most hollow is the one he's keeping.
I feel like you kind of went off on it.
So
That
you
matters less
murdered
than
all
what you're
those
making it
Yeah,
out to
well,
be.
because I had to emphasize there's a lot of unsolved stuff about this
Oh,
game's
really?
story. So like we don't really know.
Soak song.
Yes,
So he just murdered all his children.
we don't really know why or how he determines who's most hollow. He just does. So
You.
It's
So-
called, you just
Hollow.
ding, ding,
Yes.
ding, and it makes a hollow sound.
supposedly Hollow Knight, his son is the most hollow out of them all, and the reason he wants that is not because he wants a kid, but because he needs someone to contain the infection inside the Temple of the Black Egg.
Yeah.
So he uses the Hollow Knight and to consume all of the infection. And this is when the Hollow Knight was still a small little thing. And then he's sealed inside of the Temple of the Black Egg. But how he's sealed, you remember the three dreamers?
Yeah, he's not chained up.
Yeah, well, he's chained up, but you remember like the three
Oh, yeah,
dreamers
yeah.
you had to dream now?
Oh, dreams.
So the dreamers, the ones you dream now that are sleeping, they were like, there's like the Deep Nest one from different communities. They were great leaders, and the Pale King made a pact with them that they would rest eternally, basically in a coma, as you could tell when you played the game.
Yeah.
But just for the good of Hollowness, to seal it and seal the Temple of the Black Egg, seal the infection, and make Hollowness live eternally, which is what the Pale King wants.
Yeah.
So they agree to this. One of them is not the Hera the Beast from Deep Nest. She's not as quick to this decision. She actually has a deal to make, and it's basically Pale King gives her a child as well.
Oh.
And that child is Hornet.
Oh, Hornet.
Yes.
Oh.
So Hornet is also Pale King and Hera the Beast's child.
Explain who Hornet is for those.
Yes, Hornet is like one of the main characters of the game. She is at first your enemy, but when she learns what you're actually trying to do, she likes your idea and she starts helping you.
Yeah.
She's also who you play as in Silksong.
She's also very like she has much more defined goals than the other characters.
Yes, she does. She has defined goals. But anyways, after that, the deal is made. 3 dreamers, they go into their eternal sleep forever until you show up, obviously, and they seal Hollow Knight with his infection in the Temple of the Black Egg, and he's just trapped in there forever, supposedly. But the one problem is as you've probably figured out by now with a little tangent, Hollow Knight isn't 100% pure. He's not 100% hollow. There is one thing that made him less hollow, and it's his connection to his father, the Pale King.
Yeah.
So that made him just human enough to where he's not able to fully contain the infection, which is why some of it, not all of it, because the temple's still sealed, leaks out of the Temple of the Black Egg and still starts controlling.
Yeah, it takes over like a whole area.
Yeah.
At one point.
So it starts controlling. The Radiance's infection is still spreading, even though they sealed all this, did all this stuff, and it's still doing what it did before, just not as rapidly. So basically,
that makes the whole fight with the Hollow Knight even more emotional.
yeah, because when you fight the Hollow Knight in the game, he's not even controlling himself anymore. Which is why he starts stabbing himself, is because he's under the Radiance's infection, and he doesn't want to hurt you because he knows you're one of his kin,
Yeah.
You're his family because you were birthed by
that one boss.
Oh, the lost kin.
Yeah.
Yes, he's also one of your siblings.
That would make
so much more sense.
One of the vessels, and so yeah. But basically, what the Pale King does after this, after his whole big plan failed to make Hallownest live eternally and all this stuff, he comes up with a great plan.
Murder my son.
No.
He comes up with an amazing, well thought out plan. He runs away. he basically abandons. He runs away to the White Palace.
Which is in a dream world, right? I was thinking about this the whole time.
I'm not gonna explain that because that'll take a while.
Okay.
But yes, Ooh. And he basically runs away because he realizes that Hallownest is doomed. The infection is going to take over.
He's like, I'm not doing this crap anymore.
Hallownest is doomed. His plan failed, and at the end of the White Palace, how you get the King's Soul is you find him dead on his throne in the throne room. You can smack him with your nail a little bit if you want. You don't fight him or anything. He's dead. Yeah, so that's basically the before story. Obviously, I couldn't explain everything. There's a lot more.
That gives me a pretty good basis.
That was the main story, but now actual in-game events. I'll talk about. So you got the base game ending where you just kill the Hollow Knight and you take over as the vessel and basically just continue the cycle. Well, I would say the most canon, even though Team Cherry said every ending's canon, the most canon would probably be the final ending where when you get the King's Soul, Hornet will show up and she's standing outside the Temple of the Black Egg and she's like, I'm not going to sacrifice my life for you, but if the time arises, I will help you. So what she does is once you get far enough in the Hollow Knight battle, he'll like scream, and then out of nowhere, her needle like literally sticks into his head, and she basically, like that silk she's always flinging around, she wraps him around in the silk, pulls him down and constrains him, and she's like, "Rah!" And she's like yelling at you to like, come on. And what you have to do is you can either not dream nail him and wait a minute, and he'll break free of his constraints. Hornet will get flown to the side, and then you can continue the fight with Hornet laying there, and basically the Temple of the Black Egg will seal again, and this time it'll have Hornet's face on it. That's probably my least favorite ending.
Yeah.
I think it's probably also the least canon because then Silk Song wouldn't happen unless it's a prequel. It's not confirmed yet. But then the final ending is when you dream nail him while Hornet has him constrained, and you go into his mind where the Radiance is controlling him.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole scene where it's a big, bright, like godly looking area, and in the background is a sun. It doesn't look like anything, it's just the sun. But then its big wings come up.
Oh, no way.
And it just teleports right in front of you. It's this huge moth creature. It's actually a pretty hard fight.
Yeah. I had to get there then.
Yeah, so you fight, and you finally, the last phase is you chasing her as she runs away, and she's like flying towards the sky, and these platforms are like appearing, and you're chasing her. And basically what happens is you, at the end, when she has nowhere left to run, you start floating, and as you're running up, by the way, there's like those void creatures coming up after her as well. So the void is coming, and basically you become this giant void monster that just starts slapping the crap out of her.
I gotta see this.
You start slapping the crap out of her. This is my last few seconds.
Yeah.
And you beat her. Boom. Basically, Hollow Knight is dead. He sacrificed himself. He sacrificed everything, and the game is over, and the Radiance is defeated. The end. Boom.
Okay.
I'm done.
20 seeing that.
20 minutes.
What is that? 62 milliseconds.
Yes.
I remember talking to you about the sun too.
What?
The sun, you know how the thing that he was literally just talking about?
Yeah, I remember him talking
I was
about
talking
that.
about, I told him about how I got a spoiler about that.
Oh, yeah.
Because I actually saw a video, I'm like,
oh, no way.
Because he goes, is that the sun? And he goes,
Yeah.
That's funny. Morse Critical's played this game. I gotta watch it.
Yes.
All right. That was really
so
interesting. I feel very educated now. I gotta get those endings.
The final ending
With Radiance.
is so like
goodbye.
I was actually starting to tear up because it is just so emotional at the end. Because like he sacrificed himself the night, and like I can't explain it because that's kind of going against the rules. But it's so great.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
Yes, jeez. But that was hard.
Yeah, I know. I can imagine.
I didn't realize how much of the actual in-game events I was going to talk about. But
because I've told my story many times, so I knew what parts I could cut out.
But
you know what I mean?
That's basically I'll explain more once you actually beat the game. But that's basically the story.
Yeah,
and it was
That's really awesome.
Which actually, I'm also going to give a little bit something really also cool to me.
Is this a part of your background information?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the game Subnautica and Below Zero both take place on the same planet, but different areas of the planet.
Explain the game first.
Yeah, it's a game where you're on this huge ocean planet where there's like aliens, like different alien like fish type of stuff like that, leviathans, leviathan type creatures and stuff like that. Or as the game calls them, fauna.
They're terrifying.
They are.
Yeah,
some
creepy.
of them are terrifying. Like a lot of them are really terrifying.
I gotta play this game too with you guys.
The planet's name is 4546b, which I also find really cool about NASA because they found a planet, and it's called, I think you guys know, Kepler. It's Kepler 456b.
They named it after that?
No, because remember, Subnautica is 4546b.
Oh.
And Kepler is Kepler 456b. I'm like, this is a little bit too strange to me.
Didn't they find a planet that was all water?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
That's the same planet?
That's the planet I'm talking about, is Kepler.
Oh.
Which is why
You're sure they didn't name it after the game?
I don't know. All I know is the name is Kepler 456b.
That would be great if they did, though.
That'd be awesome.
That might have been why they named it Kepler 456b, was because because as I said, that in the Subnautica is 4546b.
Okay,
so
it's too many numbers going around.
It's one number off.
Yes.
And Subnautica is in like the main part, and then there's a little part that you see actually at the end of.
Oh wait, maybe we should get into this.
No. You see at the end of Subnautica when you're going off on the ship, it shows you can see the ice, and then that's where the second game takes place, which is Below Zero.
Oh, the ice.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
okay, got it.
Okay. Are you ready?
I want to find out about Kepler 456b.
Let me look at my stuff because I'm gonna do two stuff for both games, and
Okay.
I'm gonna do like two main things, and then once I'm done with that, which I don't know how long it's gonna take me to do, I'm gonna just talk about a whole bunch of just other
side
stuff, like stuff.
All right.
Okay. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Hopefully this gets me.
Start.
So precursors, I think you guys know what precursors are. Basically, they are like a beginning of all things, like before things exist. So they're basically a precursor to humans. They like invented a whole bunch of different stuff on like the planet.
Got it.
And humans want to go see all this other stuff, and they want to explore, as in like, because like humans are natural explorers, I would say. And you start off the game basically on the planet, obviously. Crash from the Aurora, life pods, and then you just explore the planet, obviously, as I already stated. Looking around, trying to find different stuff to learn more about the precursors and stuff like that. And there's this infection that starts later on after
Oh God! Not again.
I think it's the Carrar virus. Yeah, it's the Carrar virus. And which is really funny to me because like your game also has an infection, my game also has an infection. I don't think your game.
Oh, my game does have an infection, but I didn't talk about it.
Yeah. Also, speaking of void, there's also a void in this game too.
There's a void in this game too.
It's called the dead zone technically, but people call it the void.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, precursors. You find a lot about precursors. You find not huge, big stuff.
Dead zone is where the ghost leviathans at, right?
Yes, that's where bigger ghost leviathans are. Because there's another place, and I don't remember what the name of the thing is. It's the Lost River. That's what it's called. Where normal ghost leviathans.
I've never seen anything about this game.
It's so good.
I'll play it. I'll play it with you guys someday.
Yes.
Gosh, this is so hard. Precursors, obviously, as I already stated, they created a whole bunch of other stuff. They created these things called warpers, which is these things that are there to stop the infection from spreading. So when you're infected, which is actually, this is a really cool thing. When you're infected with the Carrar virus, they actually start attacking you.
What do?
The warpers.
Oh, okay.
And once you, they're actually created, but they also act like normal creatures and stuff like that. and they attack you if they're infected, or if you're infected, they attack things that are infected. But once you get rid of the infection, which is a later on thing, they don't attack you anymore, which is honestly to me a really cool concept when I learned about this. And I'm going to kind of skip to the ending because I really want to talk about both these games before I actually talk about more background information.
Mm-hmm.
The ending, you basically help this thing called the Sea Emperor Leviathan.
Okay.
She has before she dies, you have to like make this thing, I can't remember what it's called. It's like it helps the eggs hatch or something. And she has multiple eggs, and then the things that hatch from it, the baby ones, actually release these enzymes that cure the Karar virus, which is why you help her, and then she basically has her little things. And they actually, once you leave the area where she is after she's dead, they actually are around the map. And fun fact, the Sea Emperor Leviathan was supposed to be a evil creature, like one of the big baddies of the game, which is honestly really cool because that's what was like the whole thing, as they had her going under. It was underneath the main character of that game. Yeah. And then later on, once they actually released the game fully, they're like, we're gonna make her the mother of all things to save the world, basically.
They teased it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Now we're going to go into Subnautica Below Zero so we can get this rest of my stuff started. So Below Zero, you crash into the water. You crash in the ice area. You do not.
Quick question: is this before, like timeline-wise, before Subnautica?
I actually have no. I don't.
Is it a different planet or the same planet?
It's the same planet, just
frozen.
Just a different area.
Different area.
Yeah, because there is islands, which I'll get to that later, which is why I want to talk about. That's the more of the other information I'll talk about later.
Okay.
But you land on the ice planet and stuff like that, obviously, and this is more focused on precursor stuff than the other game is. I mean, the other game is obviously focused on that too. Yeah. But that's more of just like surviving and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this game is like heavily focused. So you go into this one precursor base, and you find this one area, and you like basically it injects its intelligence into your brain, and you wake up. Well, you get knocked out after it gets into your brain, and then you wake up, and this voice starts talking to you, which I find really funny because when it starts talking, he goes, Robin, which is the character, she goes, "So what's your name?" And his name, he goes, "It's Alan." AL-AN.
Okay.
Which I think is really funny because she goes, "So your name's Alan. I was really hoping for a cooler name."
Oh, that's disappointing.
Because it's just like some normal name for like this creature that's like has nothing to do with human beings at all. Well, that does technically have something to do with human beings, but they're these ones are actually called the architects, the architect precursors. Okay. That's what they call themselves. We call them precursors, but they call themselves architects because they build a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so you actually get to meet them in the second game.
Yeah. Actually, that is a huge thing about the ending.
So, great.
I love this ending so much. It's like my favorite ending to the game. But I have to, well, not the favorite ending because it's my ending to the game. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. So basically, the entire game is you're going through the planet, like the ice area of the planet, exploring and finding different parts to Alan's body to create a synthetic body for him. So you find the tissue, the skeleton. I don't remember the other parts. I think it's tissue, muscle, I think skeleton, all the main parts for a body, obviously.
Okay.
And once you find all that stuff, you inject Alan into it, basically.
Aren't you playing as Alan or not? Am I confusing?
Alan is inside your brain, and he gives you all this stuff where everything is. And what you do is you.
Oh.
Yeah, it's very confusing. He can still talk to you later on, but I'll explain that to you later. But the whole point is like a gather quest is you just gather all these parts and like for the body, and you create the body. And once you create the body, he goes into his actual form, which actually looks sick. I'll show you guys a picture after we're done with all this stuff.
Okay.
Then later on, you have to like do this thing where you have to fix the ship, or you have to fix stuff, and you have to make this huge like teleporter that leads you to the architects. Well, this is the ending now. You go onto this little ship thing that goes through the portal, and you're on the thing with him, and it just leads to this cool world, like it was with a whole bunch of different architects, and like it's oh my god, it's so sick. It's like such a big difference between huge water planet to like alien technology.
Oh,
and
okay.
Like,
that's really cool.
It's so cool to me.
Yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, that's the ending of.
So is
Below
it
Zero.
teasing another game where you're gonna get to explore this alien world?
They are making a third one, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know.
Did the
what
first
it's gonna
game
be
tease
based
the
on.
second game?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with the Neptune rocket, seeing the ice planet, or the not ice planet, the ice area.
Oh,
planet,
okay.
Yeah.
Which I thought, because like it could have just went up, but your character, or when it goes up, it kind of like you can, if you look out, you can actually see the ice, which is why, because they made your character get up and look out of the window and see the ice.
Okay.
And yeah, that was like really cool to me.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what am I thinking of? And then, okay, we're gonna talk about the islands now. And so the islands, which is also, I probably should have talked about this earlier too.
Yes.
One island, the first island I think you go to, or the second island, I can't remember which one you go to first. But the Degrassi, which is one of the sub people of the Aurora, crashed onto that planet, which is one of the characters you'll meet on later on in Below Zero, named Marguerite.
Okay.
But
writing
this
this down.
Yeah, this is gonna be a test later, actually.
Yeah.
But now, you find the
Marguerite.
2 islands, and one island has like a whole base on it,
Mm-hmm.
and technically not, because they both have bases, but one has a base made by humans, and one has a base made by precursors.
Right.
And the base you go to on the island, the one island by the humans, is basically the stuff that you use to build your base in the water, which is also really cool.
Okay.
And it just, like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just like a whole bunch of different stuff, and you just go through the island, and you hear, because they have those things called the PDAs, which is very different from PDA in real life.
Okay.
Got it.
It's like this
PDAs.
tablet type thing that gives you like information.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. It's also in the second game too as well.
PDA in both games.
Yeah, there's PDA.
Sounds great.
I will just give you a little warning.
Yeah.
We are just about at halfway.
Halfway.
Yep.
Halfway.
You're good though.
Okay. I really wanted to go a lot longer about this. Well, I mean, obviously, I still have a lot of time. But my brain's stumped.
You should try to give us a summary of the overall story.
Okay, and then the second island. I'm going to talk about this one too. It has this thing called the gun. That's basically what it is. It's just this huge precursor like thing that just shoots down stuff, which is why the Aurora crashed. Was because it got shot by the gun that brought it down.
And okay. Oh,
Which
interesting.
also, this is also a really big thing in the story because it shows you what happens. So there's these people that come to help you,
Yes.
and you can't disable the gun before these people come help you because obviously you're infected, so it doesn't let you.
Yeah.
Which is why the infection is a really important part of the story, is because this is why you can't disable the gun. Anyways, they come to try and save you, and the gun just and they just explode.
Oh no.
And it's so funny to me because as they were coming down, they're like, and they saw the gun moving, and they're like, and they started they saw the ship turning
seen
back.
this. I've
This
seen
ship-
this.
the
Really?
ship
Is it
started
cool?
turning
It's
back.
actually crazy.
It's
I was
so
like,
sick.
oh my god.
Well, now I'm going to talk about more about that part because I really want to talk about the islands and stuff like that. So life pods, you have to go explore around the place, which you get different distress signals from different life pods, and then you think, oh yeah, another person in the game. No, they're all dead. Everyone's dead, which is really sad.
I'm going to draw a parallel to a game called Raft. You've probably heard of
Yes,
it.
I know
It's
Raft.
very similar.
Yes.
Like the islands you're talking about and stuff, you find different people in the lore being revealed that way. This is survival horror. They're
Yeah,
both,
I know Raft.
Yeah. So that's what I keep thinking of whenever you talk about this game.
Yeah, I like that. That's good. Well, obviously the only one that actually survives, obviously, is your life pod. And I'm pretty sure that there's one life pod that talks about the Reaper Leviathan, but I cannot remember for a fact.
What is the Reaper Leviathan?
It's like the big bad.
What is it?
My god!
Oh, you don't want to know.
I want to know. I
like,
asked.
every single time I see it, I have a heart attack.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is it going to be a
So
game that you
it's-
guys are going to get to watch me get scared? too?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like I love stuff like the ocean, which
In
is
the
kinda-
dark, we're playing it, by the way.
Oh yeah,
In
we're
the
definitely
dark,
we're
we're
playing
playing.
this game in the dark.
Right.
But like, I think the scariest part about the Leaper of Leviathan is because you got to be quiet, and if you make any noise or any and there's any light at all, it like comes at you, and it's like so like terrifying.
Don't show them what it is.
I'm not going to.
It would be so cool if that game had Mike.
Oh yeah, that would be so cool. But like, oh jeez, I remember my first time playing the game. I was so terrified. Because every time it's near the first one you technically meet is by the Aurora.
Okay.
So it just kind of like, so you have to like kind of sneak past it. And one time I got stuck. I'm like, ha, loser, and I got kind of close to it. And it got unstuck. I'm like, oh no! I ran. I got out of there so fast.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
And I also remember playing earlier one time. I keep talking.
You gotta explain the lore.
I know, but I keep like talking about my gaming.
You're on a
experience.
time crunch.
And I'm gonna talk about one more time.
Okay.
I was sitting there. I had the lights on in my Seamoth, and I was nowhere near it. And I turn around, and all I just see is the Leviathan.
Oh,
just
God.
whoa, my.
Oh,
And I was terrified. I thought it was gonna come after me, but it didn't see me. I'm like, because it really just goes based off sound.
So it's definitely a scary sounding game.
It is very terrifying.
It's the scariest game I've ever played.
Well, really?
Because I'm scared of the ocean.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I have thalassophobia.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's
thalassophobia. That's the thing with fear of what's in the ocean.
Well, no, it's actually fear of what you don't know is in the ocean.
Well,
like
this game was
stuff.
made to be.
That's basically what it was. Basically, well, also
So
another game that has something to do with it is. Grounded.
Oh my goodness.
Do you guys know what Grounded is?
Yeah.
That's basically.
Yeah, when you're tiny.
Yeah, that's
also survival horror.
That's also basically what the
we'll
game
say
is.
6 minute warning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, let's get back into the lore. I want to know more about the story.
Okay.
The lore story.
Let me think about what's more in Subnautica that I haven't talked about.
Have you covered most of it?
I talked about precursor. Yeah, I talked about a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, also the warpers send you messages at some points too.
Okay.
Which is also a kind of cool thing I like.
Do you ever escape the planet?
Yeah, that's what the Neptune rocket is.
Oh, okay.
Is when you escape.
So, or do you play as someone different below Zero?
Yeah, which is Robin, and then I can't remember the main character.
This feels like a game that'd be really good as a movie.
Oh yeah, I want to see this as a movie. If it comes out as a movie, I don't know about you seeing it.
I would love
I'm
to.
definitely gonna go see it.
No, me having that fear just makes it so much better.
I know.
I actually really want to see him.
I might end up because I go to the beach and I'm fine, but this might end up awakening something in me.
No, I can go to the beach just fine. It's like being in the middle of the ocean, like looking down, seeing nothing down there. Mm-hmm. That's terrifying to me.
Yeah.
It's just like darkness.
Yeah, I know. It's a void.
Subnautica is really good with like sound effects and stuff.
Definitely.
Because you'll just be chilling and they'll be like, woo.
Oh yeah, that's actually
those big dudes.
Yeah, the reefbacks.
Yeah, reefbacks. Yeah.
Which is honestly really funny because they sound absolutely terrifying, but they're the nicest little things.
Yeah, they are.
They don't do anything to you at all.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they
do. I feel like this is a lot of
they do because they have the.
I can't see the.
Yeah.
He did bunny ears.
Parentheses.
No, quotations.
Quotations, whatever.
I don't know what I was thinking about. Anyways,
oh my
whatever.
Gravy.
They have these because they have like stuff growing on their backs and they have plants.
I just checked these things.
Luke thought something was growing on his back.
There's these things called I think they're tiger spike plants. I don't remember the exact name of them.
Okay.
But
I'm not following you anymore.
They shoot little things of stuff at you. Poison. They just shoot poison, kind of thorns at you and stuff like that.
Oh
Anyways, Below Zero now. Okay, so this story basically follows Robin, which I already told you guys about.
Didn't you already tell us about Below Zero?
Yeah, but I want to talk about more of Robin's story.
Okay.
So she hates the Altera, which is the main crew of the Aurora and stuff like that. She absolutely hates Altera, but her sister worked for them, and so after her sister went on the planet and she died, she's like, fine. And then she goes to another planet that she explores, and as I talked about Marguerite earlier, she also hates Altera because she was part of Degrassi, which was the team that was landed on the island with. It was her, the captain, and his son. I'm pretty sure they were I think they were married or something like that. I think that's what it was.
There are a lot of names being thrown around right now.
Yeah.
Marguerite.
Oh gosh, I got 3 minutes. Okay.
Degrassi.
Okay. Robin has to find stuff about her. Finds about stuff about her sister, and she finds this Leviathan that has the coronavirus, and that's inside the ice. And she has to basically find She has to get a sample of the infection to find a cure for the thing, and she uses the cure and puts it into the ice monster because the coronavirus is not as huge as it was in the first game. Because I think there was stuff that's in the game that has it, but Robin doesn't develop it like your character does in the first game.
Okay.
Basically, you have to as I said, you have to go to where the the coronavirus is kind of like these it's like these green little dots on your on your body and stuff like this.
Leprosy.
And stuff like that. I guess. Yeah. I also want to talk about the skeletons from the first one.
2 minutes.
No. Which also the Gargantuan Leviathan. I don't know if you know. I don't know how you guys know about that.
I don't know what you're talking
anyways, still on below zero. There's not much really to talk about because it's just her sister. Find out stuff about her sister, which is huge thing. She actually finds her necklace in where you find the Leviathan in the ice. And which is when she realizes that her sister was not in a safe place, which makes her hate Altera even more. Because they knew about everything that happened, and they still kept her there. And a lot of the stuff that's actually, all the Altera stuff there, was destroyed. And obviously also about the game is that you also have to... New thing is introduced, because it used to be just water, food, oxygen. You don't have to worry about heat.
Temperature, I guess.
Okay.
1
minute warning.
Okay. That's basically it. Okay, I'm going to talk about the skeletons real quick. There's a skeleton called the... it's in the Lost River. It's the Gargantuan Leviathan, which basically is this huge Leviathan that gets bigger as it lives, basically like a lobster.
Okay.
I'll talk about lobsters after this. But it basically ever expands. It does not stop at growing and growing until it.
I really hope we get to see this in the.
It basically
games.
dies. I don't think it's ever going to be in the games, but it was modded into the game, which is one of the things that somebody made, which is what the crew that I was talking about that tried to save you. Somebody made a mod and it eats the crew.
Okay.
Okay.
20-second warning.
Okay. So, anyways, the Gargantuan Leviathan, as I stated, it's like this huge Leviathan that ever expanding. And if the bones, you only see the bones and stuff like that. I really wished it was actually in the game itself because it would have been really cool to see this thing that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
4.
Anyways.
3.
Anyways,
that's basically done.
All right.
There you go.
Gosh.
I really want to play this game now.
Yes.
I'm wondering. Well, I'll talk about it after the episode's over.
Yeah.
So, what have we all learned today?
A lot.
Yeah. There's a lot of information in my head now.
Yeah.
But a lot of information I've finally gotten to get out of my head too.
Yes. And once you actually play Hollow Knight, watch Mossbag's entire summary of all the lore because he explains that a lot better than I do. And
but it's kind of cool to get a friend.
Yeah. I also don't think I emphasized how messed up it is that Pale King killed all of his children.
I thought you were making a joke about that, Hunter. He actually did kill all his children. Well,
yeah, I told you that.
Yeah.
Oh.
I literally was making a joke about that.
He birthed 1,000 of those vessels, and only one of them was hollow enough for him. So he killed all the other ones.
I didn't catch that part. I thought he just
that was my joke. I mean, I was making a joke also, and also was
so that's why it's was he a good guy or not? Because he wanted what was best. He did what he thought was best for Hollowness, but at the same time
he just murdered all his children.
Killed a lot of his children.
Wow, a lot of debatable. Man, our podcast just keeps getting philosophical.
I
don't
know.
understand.
Is he a good guy or not?
Yeah.
He murdered his children.
Yes.
William Afton style.
Yes. No, he didn't murder his children. Well, actually, no, he didn't.
Well,
technically, he did.
I'm surprised none of us chose FNAF, even though we
already said we're going to have an episode
already
doing
had
that.
a lot of stuff about that.
Yeah. We said we're going to do an episode about that.
True.
Maybe. Oh, God.
Or that's going to be...
Shut up.
And, timeout, this isn't going to be in the final cut, but you are in charge of ending it, so whenever you feel is best.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
Also,
time back in.
I want to talk about the lobsters.
No.
Okay.
You can't talk about the lobsters, but time are we at?
You can. I talked about Pale King after.
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Oh, I should talk about something.
The lobster thing I want to talk about. So, some people don't actually know this, but lobsters don't die from age. They just get bigger and bigger. Some people know that, some people don't know that. But so the only reason why they die is they get eaten or disease, or I think they starve to death.
Mm-hmm.
So if as long as they have enough food, they don't get a disease or they don't get killed by anything. They
you
literally
mean actual lobsters?
Yes, legitimately just lobsters.
Wait, real life lobsters?
Yes.
What?
What?
They live forever?
No
Basically, yeah.
way. I'm looking this up.
What?
Yeah. As long as they don't get a disease and they have food and
Hey
everything else.
Siri,
Afterwards.
can lobsters live forever?
They don't die from age. They just get bigger and bigger. Yeah, exactly. I just said that. I said if they don't get diseases or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
Or if they have food and stuff like that. They just, as I said, they don't die from age.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That is...
Because if you look it up, they do not die from age. So physically, if they were just to never get eaten, never get a disease, and have enough food and everything else for them, they could possibly just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
That is
Until
horrible.
Yeah,
just
that's what
want
it's
to.
saying. The number of divisions in the cell.
We need to study lobsters for immortality.
Oh, they're not exactly immortal, but they live like
Well, yeah,
past.
because they can die, but just not from old age.
Exactly.
They can like get too big and just like.
See? Exactly what I mean.
In like-
if they had enough space to just
Hold on.
grow infinitely,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
could just grow infinitely.
That's the only problem.
What if someone tried to just grow one forever? You need to.
That's what I'm.
Oh, is that what happens in Subnautica?
No.
Oh.
That's basically what the Gargantuan Leviathan
Oh,
is.
okay.
I think it's what.
One of the top searches, like if you search "Are lobsters immortal?" or "Could humans live forever?" I was looking this up, like.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Yeah. I'm a lobster.
I'm a lobster now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought that was really cool to think about.
Yeah, that's
Because I was
wild.
thinking about the. I was thinking about. I'm like, wait, Gargantuan Leviathan also is like a lot of connected to lobsters. In real life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, what should I say about my Kirby thing? Because you guys talked about your thing. I'm wearing my Kirby socks,
Yeah.
What should I talk about my Kirby
but
thing?
they can't eat anything, so
He's wearing his Kirby
They don't
socks,
work.
but they're useless.
I need to explain what Kirby does.
He sucks.
Yeah, he eats things and gets their abilities, which also is kind of morbid in and of its own.
Yeah.
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 I guess I probably should
That's
start out with that.
That's literally like the main
I
thing.
didn't say
Kirby
that.
does. Yeah, he absorbs
So-
everything in his path.
Just
Did we
want
do
you
a
guys
mic
know,
check before the episode
You learned
started?
about everything else about the lore, but you didn't even know what he does the entire. You don't even know what he does.
Yeah.
But well, you know now. He basically sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He corrupts people.
If you didn't know about Kirby before.
In Kirby Star Allies, you like throw hearts at people and just like basically force them to be on your side.
Alright.
Oh yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up now. I'm just getting my stretching.
Yeah, he's doing his dad stretches.
Yeah. All right. We have another episode for you guys planned. I think it's gonna be really exciting. This is a bit more rambly, a little bit less funny, but I think the next episode will probably
I have some
let you
ideas.
bust a
in
gut,
mind.
slap a knee,
Yeah.
and it'll be a good time. So,
Yes.
other than that, 3, 2, 1.
Peace out, Media Junkie.